Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. In today's episode, we're going to pop in and visit Rob, check out his first ever marine tank. Yes, first ever, and it is an 8 by 2.5 foot beauty. Alright guys, thank you for joining me on another episode of Parker's Reefs, and yes, as touched on in the intro, we are going to do another tank tour today, and this time a good friend of mine, Rob, I've been working with Rob now for probably close to a year and just working through a couple of issues he had with his first ever reef tank. We started off with some pretty high nitrates that we've been working our way down with. We've added a little bit more flow because it just had a couple of gyres in there that probably wasn't pushing enough for some coral health, and last but not least, and the topic of this video at least, is getting the par levels where we wanted them. This big tank was lit up by a couple of Kessels before and it probably just wasn't getting enough par. In fact, after putting a par meter into the system, we saw it was absolutely not getting enough par. So we checked it out with 5 XR30 G5 Pros over the system, in addition to the lighting you already had. And I figured while I was there was so much really clever thinking and a really methodical approach to reef keeping that I figured the best thing I could do was to grab the camera out, do an interview and share it with all you people at home, because I personally feel like there is a lot to this approach to reef keeping that every single one of us could learn and take away and apply to our own reef tanks in home. So without further ado, let's roll the footage. All right, Rob, here we are standing in front of this impeccable tank. You want to tell us a bit about it? What size is it, when it started? What led you to this point in the hobby?
Yeah, well, it's an 8 foot by 2'6" by 2'6", built by Billy at Starfire Aquatics. It's about 12 to 14 months old now. I started in the hobby not as a reefing at all. I actually went to Billy to get a freshwater tank and to put some cichlids in it, because that's sort of where I sort of started off many moons ago as a youngster. Then I walked into his shop, saw all the coral and saw all the fish, and I thought, that looks a bit better than the freshwater. So had a big chat to Billy. Again, I just got it quoted as a freshwater system, and he pretty much talked me into going to saltwater, and I'm wrapped that he did.
Absolutely.
Convinced me to go saltwater.
What a beautiful system. Now tell us a bit about the infrastructure of the system, what makes it tick. Yeah, I suppose the power heads, we've got 3 max spec gyre 4Ks, 2 of them on either end. That's sort of giving the surface agitation. One on the corner here near the weir, that sort of blows around the back. Yes. Then I've got 2 Ecotech MP40s across the back that's blowing from back to front. Yep. As far as the sump's concerned, I suppose. Yeah, sure. Let's have a look at the sump. Let's open up. Yeah, go for some details here. Probably not the best looking sump in the world, but I guess it serves a purpose at this stage. So starting from the end there, I have got a Pacific Sun Calc Feeder HC3. Having a little bit of issues at the moment getting the right effluent coming out of it, but I'm sure I'll get that going sooner or later. The return pump's just a Mantis 12K. Beautiful. Seems to work well. Haven't had any issues with it. Quiet. So keeps the wife happy. Yeah. Next on there, we've got our little reactor there. They've got a bit of carbon and GFO. Yep. Then I've got my algae reactor there. Did have some issues at one stage because I did have, and I still do have, quite high nitrates. It was sitting at 65, and I did see some effect happening within the tank. And thankfully, Dave from Deer Park Aquarium and yourself put me on the right track, and we've got a sulfur reactor, which we'll see a bit later on, that's dosing into the tank. It's dosing in at 22 mils a minute at this stage. And at the last check, which was just today, I've got it down to 21. So we're on the way. Then I've got my Cove internal 200 skimmer. Beautiful. Seems to work all right. Questioning whether it's large enough, but we'll see how that goes. Then moving on, we've just got my bio balls in there. Yeah, nice. With some agitation going with some air bubbles. Beautiful. And then the best thing I've probably put in this tank for a while has been my roller mat. I did used to have just filter floss sitting on the bottom of that, and I was changing that out every 5 to 6 days, and it was driving me nuts. So did that. A bit further on, I've got a couple of Kamoa doses. The right side's not dosing anything at the moment. That's to be continued.
set
inside
ready to
there,
go.
I'm dosing some potassium because my ICP test showed I was a little bit low on potassium, and just some Reef anabolics, trace elements and all that there too.
Amazing. You've got some pretty serious plumbing and some cable management and...
Yeah, I originally had just soft piping, and I'll blame it on YouTube because and probably your channel, because a lot of things I would see and I thought, oh, I like all this hard plumbing, and it's just standard 25mm PVC tubing, and I just had to play around and it seems to work.
Works a treat.
So yeah, probably not the most flashiest. You see some of those coloured ones, but
Tidies things up real well. Looks
yeah,
great.
and just tried to tidy up some of the cabling. Yeah.
Works a treat. I love it. Now tell us about the change that we made today, which all happens up above the tank here.
Yeah. Okay. I did have some issue with losing a number of corals, and if you even look inside the tank, there's a couple of corals there that are not quite right, NQRs. We went down a lot of track doing ICP tests. We thought it might have been the nitrates. I thought it might have been pests in the water. We did a lot of process of eliminations. And then the last thing we thought, well, let's test the par readings inside the tank. And all I had was, at that stage, I had 4 Kessel A360Xs, maxed out with intensity. And at the bottom, I was getting around a 35 metre reading of par. And I think at the very top, I was lucky to be 75 to 80. So both Dave and yourself looked at me saying, I think your lighting's the issue. So with nice conversation with the wife, I managed to purchase 5 Radeon XR30 G5 Pros.
There's the boxes there and the ladders. We've literally just used to mount these up. And
So we've created an aluminium framework, mounted them up, and all I can say straight away is I feel like I've got new fish in the tank because the colours that have just popped out on them have just been crazy. So
definitely added a bit of par to the tank. We did a quick par test and we saw I don't know, ranges between about 200 and 400 in the tank in most places now, which I think is going to be a much better sweet spot for coral success.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Tell us about some of your fish.
Yeah, the fish has been a steady growth. All the fish have come from either Reef Galleria or Deer Park Aquarium. I suppose my standout favourites have got to be my white cheek.
Yep.
My grandson absolutely adores him, calls him Cheeky. So he's cool. My most recent is probably this Melanaris here. Beautiful colours on him. The other recent one, I suppose, is we call him Popeye, but he's our Scots fairy wrasse. And the reason why we call him Popeye is because he scraped his eye on the first few days, and as you can see, his left eye is still a little bit protruding.
Got a little bald there, but he's coming along pretty well.
So a bit of research has told me that it's probably something called Popeye, so hence the name Popeye. But yeah, I love my wrasses, so there's quite a few in here. There's a couple of different kinds of Melanaris. There's a Timor wrasse in there. What else have I missed? A Lilianus wrasse. Whoops, he didn't like me pointing at him. And a couple of others. Coral beauties in there. Funny story though, if he comes out, is my little Royal Grandmuch under the rock there.
Yes, I did see him before. Yeah.
So I had him in the tank. I don't know if you can see him there.
I can. He's just hiding back
He
there.
disappeared after day 2. Had no idea where he was. I just thought he'd gone back to his maker. I reckon 4 to 5 months later, I thought I'd clean out the sump. So get rid of all that detritus to help with my nitrates. And lo and behold, I was 3 inches away from sucking him up with the vacuum cleaner, and there he was sitting inside my sump underneath my bioballs. So it was a win-win for me. So I put him back in the tank and he's been going great guns. So
sensational.
Eating like a trooper, and he loves it. Yeah. But I've got some Disparanthius there now. They're really popping with the lights.
Yeah, these guys really coloured up as soon as we turned those lights on. Particularly this dude here that I'm assuming is going to...
flare up a bit.
He's going to flare up and be a male, I'm guessing, just by the yellow band that he's got on the back half. But he is absolutely coloured up a treat, and they're looking really, really nice.
And my foxface there, we love him, but every now and then he loves picking at my Cyrenaria, sorry. I have got a clam there. He tends to spend half his day half open. My pyramid butterflies are grouse.
Yeah, they're a cool fish.
Yeah. With 3 yellow tangs, believe it or not, they're all of the same size. But I've got this little fella over in the corner here, he just keeps getting banished. So every time he tries to move over, the other two bring him back into check and
He's
time
the
to move over
third
again.
wheel.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So
This guy here looking absolutely stunning. Real nice colour and size to him. Beautiful markings.
yeah.
And what about some of the corals?
Yeah, well, we love our hammers. So as you can see, we've got quite a few hammers in there.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't looking great, like one in the back corner there. I'm hoping it's light related. So we've got quite a few different colours of hammers there. We like our elegance, so we've got a few there. One's not looking too great, but hopefully again it's light. A few trackies there. Hopefully they come back a little bit too. The Xenia's absolutely going berserk over there, as most would say they do anyway. Got a few frog spawns.
Yeah.
Me gonnies, I've got a couple of gonnies there, but they're not doing that great. So maybe just because I don't know what to do to look after them. I'm sure time will tell. A few blastos over here, micros and the normal ones.
Yeah, the blaster's looking absolutely gorgeous. Real fat and fluffy in there. Nice colour variance between the sort of the maroon, the orangey red, and then the green there.
Yep.
Nice little valley of blasto.
Yep. I got my finger coral there, a couple of bubbles coming over, a couple of candy canes. Again, one's not looking great. The rock that the candy cane was on, there's probably got about 6 plugs that had a heap of zoas on it, and they just, you'll see just one plug there with a little bit of, I think there's like 3 heads of zoas there, but that's fine.
We'll see how they respond now with a bit of extra par and
Yeah.
got the nice leathers over here too. Oh, nice Duncan up there, I see.
Duncan, yeah.
He's stretching out beautifully. That little super bright green polyped leather's an absolute beauty.
Yeah. So,
Then you've got a couple of SBS up here. This one up on the rocks encrusting lovely. Hopefully
Yeah.
we'll see him reach out a bit now. There's some light for him to grow towards.
the top one at the top there, I think is that a bird's nest? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, green bird's
That's
nest.
from Marcus, from Reef Nerd.
Beautiful.
Got it from him. Actually, I don't have too many SBSs in here. What would you say that was called? A hokey pokey, I think you said, or something like that. What was it
Pokey,
called?
yeah. Felicipora.
Yeah. Amy Gorgonian's absolutely looking terrible, so I think he's going to
Gorgonians are
find his way out of the tank, I think.
Ultra difficult coral. And just looking at the colour on this hammer here is absolutely awesome. The bright green splash down one side of the stem to a reverse head. Just beautiful piece.
And I've failed to mention I've got the Valentini puffer in there.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Thought I'd give it a crack. I had quite a few vermitid snails. Lo and behold, he's actually succeeded in getting rid of quite a few of them. They're not eradicated, but he has got rid of a few.
Yeah,
but the downside to it, of course, is that he's trimming the edge of my Monty cap. So
he just uses that to grind his teeth
yeah,
on.
so he keeps trimming it back. And like you said, though, it's probably blessing in disguise, where he's sort of just keeping it in check and
Just managing the growth.
growth. Yeah. So.
Tell us about the hawk.
Yeah, a little flame hawk. We call him old mate. He tends to just follow us around the tank, and real character. He'll stick his body within a rock and just shove his head out and have a look at us, and his googly eyes. Or often he'll sit underneath the Xenia like as if it was a palm tree and he's sitting on the beach. But he's a real character of the family. Yeah, we nicknamed him old mate. There he is, coming out to say good day.
Definitely some of my favourite fish there. Very cool.
Good. Always thought maybe to get a pair for him, but I think he does all right on his own.
Yeah. Maybe something for the long-term plans.
Yeah.
He's still not massive, so yeah, let him grow a bit more and add a female with him. Looks great.
Yeah.
Now, I believe there's a little bit more to the engine room of this system than what's underneath it. Can you take us through the...
Yeah, well, look, I soon realised, like I said, I'm new to the whole hobby, soon realised that getting gear is all about the hobby, and I've been bitten big time, for sure. But I've soon found out that I'm running out of space within my sump. And I've been quite lucky that on the other side of this wall is my garage. So I'm happy to take you out into the garage and show you the engine room, I guess.
Show us through it. There's some amazing things I'd love to share with the viewers there.
Sure. All right, so what I've decided to install here, because I create my own salt water. So I've got my RO 650 litre cylinder there, and then my salt water mixed there. This is fed directly from my RO system, which is over the side there. Feeds straight into here with a float switch on top, so it keeps it topped up to 650 litres, just in case I ever need it for a disaster. And then with a few pulls of levers and twists and all that sort of stuff, I've got another Mantis 12k pump here.
Beautiful.
So what I can do is automatically move the RO water into the salt water tank, add the right amount of salts to it, flick a few more levers, and I'll just keep rotating that water through the system to keep it circulating.
Now, I was out here before, and that pump turned on by itself just to keep the salt water from getting stagnant. And one, I was surprised at how quiet it was, and also quite a clever little automation you've got set up there.
Yeah, so it's all automated. It comes on 2 hours at a time with about a 3-hour interval, just so it's not running 24/7.
Yep.
But what it does too, it's got, once it comes through the top here, there's another pipe that goes all the way through the centre with a T-piece on it, and it creates basically a vortex within the system, so it just keeps rotating that salt. What I've also then got, this side's also then connected directly into the tank.
Okay.
So again, with a flick of a few levers, I can drain water out of the tank. That goes straight into a drain, close that tap off, open the one here, turn the pump on, and it basically pumps salt water back into the tank again to its desired level.
A nice nifty little frame you've got there just to get it up off the ground. So
yeah,
you can
I'll
fill
just
up drums if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just keep my boxes of salt under it. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, just put that together with a bit of form ply and whatever. So
the trick. Now, when you go to put salt in this, you grab a ladder out and then
have to. Yeah,
dip some salt up there. She's a fair way up.
Yeah, just got the lid up the top there.
Yep.
I've got my little cheat sheet here that tells me how much litres I've put in the tank of RO, and then how much salt I need to add to that.
Perfect.
So, and then of course, then I do my salinity testing to make sure I'm where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
Yep.
What a treat. Now, there's a little bit more hidden away in these cupboards here. I'm going to jump out of the way so you can walk us through that.
Okay. All right, so first of all, in this cupboard, I have my Pentair E80, I think it is, 80 watts.
Yep.
UV sterilizer. So that, if you can picture, my fish tank's just on the other side of this wall.
Sure.
So that comes through the wall there, comes in, does its thing through the UV light, and then back into the tank. And that's running at the moment at about 10. I've got 10 litres for 35 seconds. So every 35 seconds it runs 10 litres. That's quite slow. Even when I put my hand on the outlet, you can only just feel it coming through.
Definitely.
So that's a UV. And I've mounted it low enough so it's easy for me just to maintain it, change tubes. Always keep a spares tube and sleeve available.
Ready to go. Sensational.
Yep. Over in the next part is the mechanics behind it all.
Wow. Got a bit happening in here.
So obviously, not sure if you noticed inside under the sump, I run Apex system with the Trident. That seems to work quite well. Every couple of months I do run Hannah checkers through it as well, and it's surprisingly pretty spot on. Very little difference. But yeah, I've got my dose systems there, so I do an automatic water change through the dose, so that's again connected to the salt water system.
Sure.
And into the drains that go straight out as well.
How many litres a day automatic water change are you doing?
I'm doing 9 litres a day.
Great.
Unusually though, it seems to come on and off at different times a day. It doesn't just sort of pump that 9 litres and bring the 9 litres in. It seems to just spread it out through the day. So I'm assuming that's what it's supposed to do. Seems to work.
As long as it works.
Yeah, that's right. These others are just complementing, if you like, the calcium reactors. So I'm still dosing some alkalinity, some magnesium, calcium, and then some boron as well. Then all the control systems through here. And this little baby here, along with the battery, is something that Sam put together for us, so thank you. Just a bit of redundancy, just in case we get a blackout, like we did a few weeks ago. There you go, my water change just started up again.
If no one's ever heard of Apex Dose before, that's it. It's a unit running there, but thankfully we're in the shed here, so it's no big deal.
So as I was saying, with the battery backup, when we did have that blackout a few weeks ago, I actually haven't timed it, but that was running for 8.5 hours straight, and it runs all my 5 power heads with an option to run my Mantis return pump as well. So that was running it for 8.5 hours, and then the power came back on. So I haven't actually sat there and timed it to see how long.
Should see you through most power outages pretty well.
Yep. And then obviously I've got my little iPad there that I control everything.
Yep, so you're just using the iPad to interface with the Apex?
Apex, correct,
Yep. And then you've got a few modules in here. You've got obviously the Mantis controller. We've got the 3 max spec controllers, 2 MP40 controllers. You've got your energy bar. You've got some Arlec grid hubs. Some breakout boards, some fluid monitoring modules.
The fluid modules are my leak detectors.
Yeah, great.
So I've got a couple of leak detectors in there. It also runs the ATK, auto top-up system. I think it's about it. And I'm using it to run power up some other modules in there as well. And then I've got the breakout box that I've got connected to my skimmer. It's a little float switch, just in case it overflows, it'll just shut it out and send me a message.
Beautiful.
So that's happened once, so I know it works. Then down the bottom we've got our new U-boot
Sulfur reactor.
Sulfur reactor, thank you.
Sea torch, yeah, beautiful.
So that's what's pumping the 22 mils per minute into and bringing my nitrates under control.
Yep, that's running through
my Kamoa.
Through the Kamoa FXSTP unit there. Beautiful, you can see just turning away. And we've seen those nitrates drop from 65, we're down to 21 today, yeah. And that's over the course of maybe, has it been 2 months?
2.5 months.
2.5 months, yeah. It's a nice steady decline.
Yeah.
A few days, and I'm sure now with a bit of extra power in that tank, nitrates are going to keep dropping, things are going to absolutely flourish, which will be super exciting.
We hope so, yeah.
Cool. Good stuff.
Then in the last cabinet, I've just got some more power units that control the new lights. So, I want to get to a stage where I'm actually tidying, so all the cables are up behind this, but I can still see the guts of it hanging down there, which annoys me every time I open it up. So
it's a delicate balance between having access to things, but not being able to see things, which is always fun.
Yeah, and the annoying part is everything's labelled, so I know every cable.
Yes.
But everything's black.
Yes.
So if I look underneath, it's like which one do I need to do?
For sure.
So I normally have to get the wife to tug the cable on one side so I can see it moving on this side. So
brilliant. Yeah. Great. All right. Any final thoughts or comments or anything you'd like to share with people at home that?
Yeah. Look, it's probably the one thing I'd like to say is that I'm glad I actually went saltwater and not continue with my fresh. And it's very addictive. So, and the thing I'm sort of being told by a lot of people is take your time, be patient, all that sort of stuff. But I'm struggling with the patience side of it. So I just want to get everything in there all at once, but I do know that's not the right way to go. It's just to sort of take it easy and do it slowly. So you go, the disc bar's right out the front looking
looking
nice. Yeah. So yeah, I guess, look, I'm wrapped with the way I went. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for welcoming me into your house,
no problem.
Showing me through your tank and letting us film it for everyone at home, because I know there is no shortage of stuff people are going to take away from this and be truly inspired, particularly by the engine room. What you've done with that space in the garage is absolutely mind-blowing. So great work, keep it up, and I can't wait to see where this tank is in another 6 to 12 months now that we've got some power in there, and it's going to look an absolute treat.
Hopefully you can come back and see the progress.
Absolutely, can't wait.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Cheers. All right, guys, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the tour of Rob's reef tank. Personally, I feel like for his first ever marine approach, he is doing an absolutely stellar job. And I'm really excited to see where this tank goes now that it's got some huge power over it. The nitrates are coming down. It's got some flow. I really think in the next time I visit, which will probably be in 6 to 12 months time, that system is going to be absolutely chock-a-block full of coral growth. And if you want to make sure you do not miss that video, make sure you subscribe by hitting that button in the bottom corner there. That will ensure that you do not miss out on any future videos. Other than that, guys, if you've got any questions, comments, feedback for either Robert or myself, feel free to pop it in the comment section below. I do personally reply to each and every comment down there, so it is the best way to get hold of me. Other than that, guys, till next time, thank you for watching. Stay safe, keep reefing. Bye.